Well, I guess today, first day back at pre-season, players are in great spirits. The coaches were fantastic. It's just good to be back at work. The energy and the spirit amongst the group is fantastic, and we trained well today. It's just nice to be back and getting ready for another footy season.
Who impressed you most today? Obviously, a few guys have muscled up and they look pretty fit.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell on day one, although a few of those alternate sport boys looked all right. Ben Dowdle, who was on our alternate sport list last year, he blew them away in all the running drills and stuff. And Tim Clausen, who comes from the basketball background as well, was impressive. He won the first 5-minute run in his group, and Jack Osborne, the 205-centimetre ruckman we got from Tassie, looked pretty sharp too. So, and obviously Brad Crouch. I know I'm going to talk about him all summer probably, but we're so fortunate to have him come onto our list straight away. So yeah, that's one bright spark this morning anyway.
And Tex Walker for a key forward, he looked really fit today.
Yeah, I mean he just couldn't wait to get back into it, which is a great sign. I know, these change rooms and the environment here over the last 12 months has been really special, and the guys, I think, they really enjoy coming to work, and we saw that today, smiles on their faces, and as I said, guys sort of bouncing into work. It's a bit unusual for first day of pre-season. Normally it's, glum faces, the holidays are over, but I think there's a really good sense of expectation that 2013 might be something special for the group, and I think we saw that today with the energy amongst the group.
Brenton, no advice for Taylor to cut him off?
Yeah, I thought it'd be gone, to be honest. I know his mate across the board is gone, so I'm a bit surprised. But I think he enjoys it. I think it's he's one of those players. Superstition, had a good season with the long hair. I reckon he's going to keep growing it.
Hey, just on the Tippett stuff. Obviously, there's been a heavy cloud over this club for a while. Article in the paper today saying the players think his name's mud around here. Is that a fair assessment?
It's tough for me to comment on what the players feel. Like, to be honest, I've moved on pretty quickly. I spoke to Kurt in the off season, and he obviously told me that he wasn't going to be back at the club, and I was disappointed. And that day we had a coaches meeting. We spent about half an hour on it, and then seriously, we did move on pretty quickly to how we can make the group better in 2013. So, straight away we're talking about McKernan and Jenkins and these sort of guys that have to stand up next season. So without putting too much expectation on those boys in particular, it's important that they understand that there's a great opportunity for them to step into a really good side next year.
It's obviously the first time since the playing group's been back. What did you say to them when they walked in? Because obviously you've dealt with it, but they've been away all over the country and all over the world. So
yeah, well, it's only natural. I mean, there's different emotions amongst the boys. Some are probably going to carry it for longer than others. The disappointment and but yeah, I mean, most of the guys I've spoken to sort of one-on-one have been, we're fine, we've got this. It is disappointing that we do lose a good player, and that's the 4th year in a row, Bock, Davis, Gunston, Tippett. But these boys find a way to bounce back. They, as I've mentioned, the spirit amongst the playing group is outstanding. It doesn't feel like there's any disappointment amongst the group so much as like you can notice it, but no, we were back to work and fantastic energy again here today.
So you mentioned the 4th year in a row. What has to change? Obviously, there's new teams involved with this investigation, potential fallout. What has to change to try and retain them, keep them growing?
I think our cases are quite unique. I mean, probably 3 out of the 4 were for money. Simple as that. Gunston obviously left to go back home. But some of our re-signings last year, Mackay, Dangerfield, Sloan, Henderson, almost all of our boys are keen to stay here, and they know that there's something really special that's starting to just bubble under the surface. And I know we did exceed expectations last year, and we're going to have to manage those expectations over this summer. But the majority of our group, almost all of our group now, want to be here, and they can understand the pathway that we're heading down. So, we lose Tippo, which is disappointing, but at the same time, we've got a really young group of guys here that do want to be here.
So it's not a major concern. Obviously, you're disappointed you lose those 4 players, but it's not something that's giving you nightmares as to how you keep them all here because you think you've got a good culture and that sort of stuff.
No, that's right. I mean, you guys know me. I'm pretty positive about the outlook, and I'm not going to sit here and dwell on the past. We've got a great team of, we've got a great list manager in David Noble, and Hamish Ogilvy's heading up our recruiting. Those boys are just full steam ahead. They're 24/7 on making the list better. We've got the draft on Thursday, so obviously, pick 20, we can bring some good young talent in, and we'll just keep trying to bring good young players into our organisation, and there's no reason why that can't continue.
Can it be a positive from everything you've been through in the off-season?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to sort of know the mood of the group, after the first day, but from what I saw today, yeah, the boys are ready for a really hard slog through the summer, and no overseas camps for us, no altitude training. We'll be out here every day, just busting our backside to make sure we're getting better. So we'll just train hard. We'll continue to improve. As I said, Brad Crouch comes on the list, which is a great inclusion for us, and we're going to need some boys to stand up.
Brenton, you are obviously the coach now who carries the can and has to wear any penalties that may or may not come.
Yep.
Do you feel let down by the CEO and the football department at the time that made the decision?
Oh, not so much. I mean, to be honest, the last 12 months that I've been here, I've had nothing but great support from management and administration, and everything I've asked for I've pretty much got, if that makes sense. So, I've got a great working relationship with those people, and that will continue, and I'm sure those guys will sort out what they have to sort out. All I can do is coach the footy team, and we've each got a role to play, and my role is to coach the boys. And we mentioned this morning to the players about all they can do is to do their very best to prepare themselves for a great 2013.
Have they eyeballed you, or have you eyeballed them to say what's the situation? Are we clear now?
Not so much. No, I think today we introduced some new staff, some new players. We didn't really talk about it. We didn't feel the need to. It was it's been played out pretty heavily in the media, obviously. But from our point of view, we're internally, and I always talked last year about inside the bubble. Things are just business as usual, to be honest. So, our fans, our supporters, our members, sponsors should be really confident that this group's really determined to build on last year and to ensure we have another really great season in 2013.
Are you worried with footy department spending potential fines if it does be proven correct, these allegations? Are you worried it's going to affect your spend in footy club? Like in terms of if there are fines handed out and you're going to suffer as a coach?
I think we're pretty okay with that. It's probably not the question for me, Treaders. I don't think it's. I know at some point you'll get a chance to speak to Stephen Trigg and Phil Harper and those guys, and it's probably more a question for them. But until the investigation, it's hard to sort of know and speculate about what potentially is going to happen.
Obviously, you've kept your draft picks for this week, Thursday night. Down the track, if you lose some draft picks in the next couple of drafts, how much will that impact on what you want to do with the footy club moving forward?
It's a bit out of my hands, to be honest, and once again, we're probably speculating on what might happen or what might not happen. So, as we stand today, really happy to be involved in this year's draft, and we'll bring some good young talent in. And until the investigation is completed, I guess we've just got to wait and see.
How's Nick Joyce coping with the whole situation?
He's been okay. I mean, the club was really good the way, a bit of a victim of circumstance, to be honest, but he's been really mature about it, for a 19-year-old in his second year. We've all but guaranteed him he's going to be, on our list for next season. So, that's not an issue for him or for us or his management. As I said, we were very sorry for the way he's had to play this out. But, he was out there today. He trained really well. He understands the situation. Great support from the playing group. I think almost every player rang him when the news came out. But that just shows you the strength of this group too. The boys do care about each other, which is great.
What's your main focus for the pre-season? Main focus?
There's too many. I guess the main focus, just to build on last year. We've still got a lot of areas we've got to improve on in attack, stoppages, defence. A lot of micro issues as well. Tackling those sort of things. But from an outsider looking in, it's just going to be just chipping away at a few different little aspects, but nothing sort of sticks out like we have to improve this over the summer.
You've got pick 20. Many of us didn't think you'd be in the draft. Now you are. What do you look for pick 20?
Best talent. The best talent. We're 20 is not ideal, but we'll still get a really good player at 20. One of the negatives of finishing high on the ladder is you turn the table upside down and you get late selections, but at pick 20, we can still bring a really good young player into our team, and that's been our focus the whole way through. we've got some special needs, but with pick 20, we'll pick the best available talent.
Fairly or unfairly, other players are getting dragged into this. Van Burlo and Dangerfield were both linked last week. Are you fearful or annoyed that other players might get dragged in as well as part of this whole thing?
Not so much our club. I probably shouldn't comment on other clubs, but I'm sure this is going to make a lot of other clubs nervous too. You know, there's a lot of greyness surrounding ASAs and how players are paid and stuff. So there's probably the other 17 clubs are just double checking and ensuring that everything's above board. And but as far as I know, I mean, and you guys know as well, Adelaide's been squeaky clean, for 21 years, 22 years, and this has been something that they're going to have to work through. And as I said, we'll certainly get through it. And from a coach and from a playing point of view, certainly business as usual for us. First day of pre-season.
The trade that was spoken about for Tippett before everything happened for Swans first rounder and White, would you have ticked off on that?
It's a tricky one. I mean, I was involved in it, but at the same time, that's when the investigation was sort of beginning. So it was an unusual time because there was when Kurt told us that he was going to leave, and he said it was going to be to Sydney. I mean, that sort of, I guess from our point of view, was a bit of a surprise. There was always the talk that he wanted to return home, not necessarily return to Sydney, but it was a bit of a surprise. But like I said, we've moved on from it pretty quick.
Is that the most disappointing thing that he chose Sydney, chase the dollar, and not the go home factor when everyone believed that might have been the case 2 years ago?
Oh, he's his own man. He can make his own decisions, and we were disappointed because we'd have loved for him to stay because he's a good player. We saw how good he was in the prelim final. But as I said before, I've moved on pretty quick. I think the majority of the playing groups moved on pretty quick, and we've got a really exciting young group of players here that are keen to have a good summer and get ready for the 2013 season. And it's just a great opportunity for some of our young players to stand up, which I'm sure they will.
You said last year when he had the concussion issues, you needed him to play finals to perhaps his best chance to win the flag. Can you win the premiership now that he's gone? Oh,
we can, yeah. I mean, it's only November though. Let's be realistic. I didn't talk about September till about August last year. So we'll just get through the summer first, and we'll tick through a few pre-season games. But I mean, honestly, and I'm sure you guys are the same. Just can't wait for the season just to come around again. It's going to be a long summer, and this time last year we were already 4 weeks into it. So we've got to get on our bikes and ensure that we're ready for another big season.
It's disappointing the commission hearing has been postponed, given that you are keen to move on and look ahead.
Oh no, you might think it's surprising, but I don't really spend much time thinking about it, to be honest. And I know all I can do is play my role, and that's to coach the players. And as I mentioned before, the players can prepare themselves as best they can for a really good summer. So the investigation and our club's obviously working really hard behind the scenes to ensure that we get a fair hearing. And I guess that's all I can comment on at this stage. But for me, it's business as usual here.
You said Tippett's a good player. Is he $1 million player, do you think?
Someone thinks he is.
And you're committed to Nick Joyce at pick 54?
I'm not sure about that. I can't confirm that, but I'll have to consult the list management people.
Is the other option a rookie for him?
That wouldn't be our preference, but I mean, it is an option. But he's a listed player, and we'll hope to get him back on the list.
And you said about the other clubs going altitude training overseas. You're happy to stay in Adelaide. Is that sort of training overrated? You're happy to get everything done you want here?
I just think right at the moment where our list is, I like training here at sea level and just training hard. That's fine, I know. And I think Bucks, you might go back through Bucks' quotes, I think he said that's mostly a chance for the boys to bond when they go away. Our boys have bonded fine. They, at the moment, and it might change next year, I might change my mind, but at this stage I like training here, training hard, in the sun, and getting our boys ready for a really big 2013 campaign. So we might experiment with the altitude camps at some point, but at the moment, I like training here.
And how do you replace Tippett in attack? Is that a Jenkins-McKernan battle and other players amongst that? Or?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot through list management too, and there's some different options there as well, but we don't have to necessarily replace Kurt Tippett with Kurt Tippett or with a Kurt Tippett. The game's always changing too, These new forwards are smaller, dynamic. A lot of sides are playing with one ruckman these days. We'll have a look at our structure over the break as well. Over the summer, and there's some different options for us. We can play Lewis Johnson there. We can play Tom Lynch there. Portplegia can almost play full forward. Dangerfield can spend more time forward. So we've got lots of different looks that we can show the opposition when it comes to our forward line, but we certainly won't just be saying, let's find the next Kurt Tippett. Yeah, we'll be looking for other options to upset the opposition as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.